All right, today we're jumping into this really powerful story from the book Happy Path. It's about a life that was so close to perfect. I mean, truly legendary. But it all got completely derailed by one single three-letter word. It's the story of a guy named Uzziah. I mean, think about that for a second. Can one single word really ruin a perfect story? Imagine you're writing your life story. It's full of success, huge wins, brilliant ideas. Everything is just golden. And then right at the very peak, you have to add in one word that completely changes the meaning of everything that came before it. Let's see how that can happen. So our story kicks off with Uzziah. And get this, he becomes the king of Judah when he's only 16 years old. You can just imagine, at 16, you'd probably feel a little in over your head, right? So he does this one crucial thing. He asks God for help. And that simple act of humility, it kicked off an absolutely incredible golden age. And this, right here, this is the key to all his early success. The text makes it super clear there was a direct cause and effect thing going on. As long as Uzziah was seeking God, he was prospering. It was a simple formula, really, and for a long, long time, it was working. I mean, it was working spectacularly. And when the book says he prospered, it doesn't mean he just had a good year. No, this guy was on a roll. He was doing things that even the legendary King David couldn't pull off. He didn't just fight the Philistines, he took over one of their main cities and literally tore its walls down. He crushed rival nations, and his reputation got so huge that other countries like the Ammonites started sending him tribute money just so he'd leave them alone. By any measure, he was a total genius, militarily and politically. Now, what's really fascinating is how forward-thinking Uzziah was. He wasn't just a great warrior, he was an innovator. The source material talks about his army having this special research department of cunning men who were inventing new war machines. You can basically think of it like an ancient version of DARPA. And his desert towers, they were like an early warning system, which the book compares to the high-tech radar installations we have today. This was a king who was way, way ahead of his time. So you've got this unbelievable story of success, right? A brilliant young king, undefeated in battle, a master strategist, rich, innovative. His story is perfect. And then, just as he hits the absolute peak of his power, the whole narrative just pivots on a single fateful word. This is the last line of his highlight reel. This is the moment right before everything changes. It says he was marvelously helped by God to become this powerful, respected, and successful leader. He was strong. And then comes the word that redefines his entire life. But that's it. Such a small word for such a massive, catastrophic turn. Everything we just talked about, all the victories, the inventions, the wealth, it all gets this giant, ugly asterisk next to it, all because of this one little word. And here's the tragic irony. The very strength that God had helped him build became the source of his own destruction. All that success went to his head. It bred pride. His heart, as it says, was lifted up, and that pride pushed him to cross a line he was never, ever supposed to cross. So let's see exactly how this pride leads to the final tragic moment of his reign. See, it wasn't just a bad attitude he had. It showed up in a very specific, very public act of arrogance that completely sealed his fate. This lays out his downfall perfected. Step 1, the trespass. He gets it in his head that he's so powerful he can do a sacred job that was only for priests. Step 2, the warning. The high priest, Azariah, steps up and tells him, no way, and he's backed by 80 other priests. Step 3, his pride. Uzziah gets furious and ignores all of them. And finally, step 4, the plague. In that exact moment of defiance, bam, God intervenes and leprosy breaks out right on his forehead. The consequence was instant, and it was permanent. He was thrown out of the temple, and because of the disease, he had to live in isolation for the rest of his life. His son had to take over running the kingdom. His incredible story, his entire golden age, was stained forever. He became known as the king with a but in his life. Now, the book doesn't just leave us with this sad story from history. It does what all great stories do. It pivots and asks us to look at ourselves. It uses Uzziah's story to make us think about our own lives. Because let's be honest, we all have moments of pride, we all make mistakes, we all have our own buts that can spoil our stories. And this is really the central question the author wants us to wrestle with. Uzziah's spot was permanent, but what about ours? Is there any way to erase those moments that tarnish our lives? A way to actually remove the but from our own story? Well, the book argues that yes, there absolutely is. The answer is found right here in this promise. It says that if we confess, we don't just get forgiveness, we get a complete cleansing. And to explain what that really means, the author uses this really simple but powerful analogy. Yeah, to really get the difference between just being washed and being totally cleansed, the book gives us this great picture from childhood that I think almost everyone can relate to. It's all about bath time. Think about it. When your mom told you to go wash your hands for dinner, what did you do? You probably did a quick, sloppy job, right? You missed the spots behind your thumbs, under your nails. It was something you did, and it was usually incomplete. But when you were a little kid and she gave you a bath, that was a totally different story. She made sure you were clean everywhere, behind your ears, between your toes, all of it. It was something that was done for you, and it was complete. And that is the picture of what it means to be cleansed. It's not just about wiping away one mistake. It's a total top to bottom, behind the ears kind of cleaning. It's the difference between a quick hand wash and a full bath. It's about being made totally clean from all unrighteousness. So we end on this question, which takes the whole lesson from an ancient king's pride and brings it right here, right into our own lives. The story of Uzziah is both a warning and an invitation. It's a warning against the kind of pride that puts a but in your story, but it's also an invitation to seek a cleansing so complete that the but can be washed away for good.